Welcome to Rapid Harmony. I'm Kyle Emanuel Brown. This is a space for high-achieving souls who want more than outcomes. You want resonance, you want truth, you want a life that moves with purpose instead of pressure. Here, we explore success with the soul and direction with depth. We slow things down just enough to hear your own wisdom again. We breathe, we question, we remember the part of you that never needed permission to leave. Every conversation is an invitation to trust yourself more than the noise around you, and live from that clarity that rises when you stop forcing and start listening. Take a breath, settle in, let's begin. So Michael,
Yeah.
5 years ago, you didn't believe in any of this. Astrology, sacred sound, personalized frequencies, somatic intuition. And then one reading just shattered your material view so completely that you actually eventually built Zodiac.fm around birth chart-based music.
Yes.
So what happened in that reading that made your brain go, oh no, the universe may actually be way weirder than I thought?
It takes some background. I mean, like I said, I didn't just not believe in that. I didn't believe in anything New Age. Nothing. I mean, I believed that nobody knows anything. I was a Camus existentialist. I believed there's a void, and the way existentialism fights that is you create your own meaning in an absurd world, because the absurdity is it means nothing. You fight absurdity by making it mean something. So that's what I believed. I just believed it was just a void, and anybody who thought different was just like lying to themselves. And I had a background publishing, doctoral level, people who did hypnosis, and I was like, it's just belief. So I've always been a big power of the belief game, because that's my whole background. But I just thought, yeah, that explains it. Why do you need this crazy shit? So I was like, that's nuts. A buddy of mine, he owns one of the biggest sleep centers in this whole region. He's really smart and scientist and just amazing and nice. We were on some mushrooms on the way to Red Rocks. And he's telling me that he built his whole life on human design and that he won't hire people unless he knows their design and their birth chart stuff. And I'm like, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard. So I'm, as you know me a little bit. I'm kind of a loud mouth, and I have like Tourette's of the mouth. I mean, not clinically, but I have a hard time not saying what I think. So I'm just making fun of him. We're friends. It's lighthearted, but I'm making fun of him. Short story, he's like, asked me if I've ever had a reading. I'm like, why would I do that? And he goes, how about this? I'm going to get you a reading. It's going to blow your mind, astrology one. And until then, you're going to shut up.
Right.
So I was like, that's actually fair. So
totally.
Go and get this reading. And then one of my first, I published some of the best psychologists in the world for 8 years. And I figure if I'm the publisher, I should be in therapy. So I've had and every year I get a different one. I've had a lot of therapy and a lot of insight stuff, and I loved it. And this lady who was giving my reading, long story short, it was like she had notes from all of them. It was insane. She knew more about me than all of them. And then I'm not I'm not an introspective guy really. So I wouldn't have known this stuff if I wouldn't have been in therapy.
Right.
But what the hell? And then I kept looking for the trick. And then I was like, well, maybe she's a witch. I don't know. Maybe it's not astrology. And so then I got recommended to this guy named Bish who does Vedic, and a pretty famous guy. And they read you different. I mean, different aspects of you than maybe because she was more tropical. Doesn't matter. But same thing. It's like, how do you know me this way? It's spooky. And then I was like, I know some illusionists. I was like, what's the truth? But then after a while, I realized that it's not. So then and it messed me up, like not existentially. Like they just nailed me, but it wasn't like, oh, wow, I'm going to change my life. And they kind of just confirmed all the, the stuff that's not good about me, the stuff that is, the stuff that I can't change. And I'm like, great. But it was more like what bugged me was like everything, I went to grad school and shit. Everything I'd learned, the science I know doesn't work that way because none of the studies support this stuff.
Right.
There's a different way of knowing that, I guess, but I'm so trained in it. So I just went on a journey and I went to the lineage. It's all from India and it's all Vedic. And I got into like how ontology is like how the way the world is. Mm-hmm. What's the ontological belief that supports this? And I wanted to learn it. And I read, and then, in India, I got, and I'm kind of, I'm plugged in. So I got hooked up with some pretty cool astrology experts and Vedic experts. And instead of like paying for a reading, I'm like, how much for 8 hours? And I'm going to record you. Let me ask you questions. Nice. So the people who were like these guru types, and then I'd like, who's another person who can answer my question? So I'd read, record, and I was just trying, and I had a lot of time because I was running Baby Bathwater at the time, which wasn't a lot of work, and I had time.
Yeah.
And this is just a side thing. I mean, I was just like, but it consumed me, but I wasn't going to create a company. I was just how? It's just like, what the fuck? I'm sorry.
Right,
Excuse my
right.
language. What's going on here? And yeah, I mean, this would take hours and hours and hours, but it's a Nada Brahm. I mean, the beginning, there is the non-dual void and Nada Brahm, the sound came in. And so it's like, kept hearing it's sound. And I was like, okay, like, who are the best mantra people? Like, because it's a mantra sauce. And Vedic astrology that I'm reading in certain like cultures of this is the diagnosis. And then the mantra, which is sound, is the prescription. So that's why people get mantras, like they're really into it. I mean, transcendental meditation comes from mantra work, but not nearly to the depth of people I'm working with. It's crazy.
That's right.
So I was like, what's that? And then they were getting a lot of my sounds from birth charts. I was like, what's going on? I got my seed mantra. And then it's crazy because, I do a lot of psychedelics and chanting that. What the hell? So that was crazy. And I just got addicted. And then same thing, like how? And then I just and in India, the spirituality, they like money. I mean, let's just call it what it is. They have Rolls Royce. I mean, it's a very different culture for what spiritual is there. So it's not like they love me or anything, but I was willing to pay them. So over time, and I was like, how do you do it? And I said, so there is birth chart. And they were like, yeah, there's 4 domains of life, which, that we can kind of tune. And I was like, and then I asked, like, how do you do the vows? Like, we'll never tell you how we do the vows. So I licensed, long story short, I paid for, and I don't know if they like me or not. It doesn't matter. And they want their privacy. They're like, we'll give you this, just the frequency stuff, but we'll never, our whole way of life will never reveal the algorithm for, I would love to be able to give people mantras based on this, but they'll never teach me.
Right.
But I got that. And so I didn't like create this.
Right.
I just kind of found this sect, Sira Vita, anyway, blah, blah, blah. And then they like, and I was like, could I like put you on, interview you? Like, no, like, no, they don't want that. So
yeah, they want to remain behind the scenes, but they're open to you helping as a Westerner bring it to the Western world.
They want that, and they do just fine. And they're willing to share 1/3 of their technology with me, and that's what I'm giving you.
Well, that's beautiful. We'll take it. We'll take it. And sometimes a little nugget can change the world.
I wish I had this romantic India story where I flew to India and I joined a culture and I spent 5 years in India and meeting sages. It's not that. Zoom calls. And then AI helped a lot when that's really it. But there's no romantic story.
Right. Well, I think that's actually going to be more relatable to the average high achiever who hasn't dedicated their life to the spiritual path. Yeah. And to give you a little background, the way I'm framing everything today is really what happens when a rational entrepreneur gets wrecked by astrology.
Right.
Which I think is a really fun way to look at all of this. So I want to give you a little background on Michael because it's extremely diverse, but actually all of these things are building upon themselves. And we're going to dive into that today. So Michael Lovitch is a master's in arts. He's a former special education teacher turned entrepreneur. He created a psychology publishing company focused on academic hypnosis with endorsements from doctors including Mark Hyman and Daniel Amen. He later built a practitioner-driven nutraceutical company that reached mid-8 figures. Then he co-created Baby Bathwater Institute, a community for misfit entrepreneurs, which he recently sold to his co-founder. So his newest company, Zodiac.fm, uses personalized music to support intuition, timing, and somatic self-awareness through frequencies derived from birth chart technology. The work connected to the mantra Shasta tradition, a sacred sound lineage developed over roughly 1,500 years ago. It uses the exact birth time and location as part of the personalization process. So Michael notes that the music has received interest and endorsements from doctors, astrologers, human design and gene key practitioners, qigong experts, and people working deeply in vibrational energy. Now, the wildest part is that Michael says he didn't believe any of this stuff until about 5 years ago when a mind-bending astrology reading shattered his view. So I knew of you before I knew you.
Yeah. Okay.
And I knew of you through originally Brit named Dan Meredith, who I'd connected with.
I love Dan.
Yeah, Dan and I hung out when I was out in San Diego. He came on into town. We had connected, guided me on a few things, and we went out to this epic dinner. Uh-huh. And this dinner was me and Dan and the waitress serving us. And he said, my goal is to order all the things. And he did. And I've never eaten more food in my life than the 17 entrees we had. And he was just off the charts, full-blown extreme. And he is the first person to introduce you to me conceptually when I had our Fit 365 shakes. He's like, I got a buddy, Michael Lovitch, and here's what he's doing with his supplement company. And he told me of you. So I knew of you way before we ever got to connect. And both of you have gone on different journeys of self-identification, which has been really cool. And now it's been so cool to get to know you now that I'm living out here and watching your journey. And, you know, I've gotten to see a little bit of these last 5 years of this shift that has truly happened. But what's really interesting is an entrepreneurial spirit. What I think is really similar to somebody who gets into astrology, all these different healing tools, is an openness to step outside of the box. Where it's like, I don't want to just be told what to do. And what you're telling me what to do probably isn't right. And something is happening that's shifting them from program. And you were always outside of program, right? What is special ed? First off, you're teaching special ed. Special ed is, hey, you're not part of this program, so we have you over here. So I think that could have been one of those first spots for you. And I'm curious, where do you think, you know, growing up, you know, we talked a little bit before off camera about your love from basketball, which is both a team sport and also an isolationist opportunity and meditation and motion. What was the start for you?
Start for me in terms of
like this being off, being weird and different and outside the box.
I was just a goofy kid, you know what I'm saying? Like this really goofy kid, you know, home life was, you know, give or take, you know, but it was always humor. Like things weren't great, but it was always funny.
Right.
And I think my dad was a little out of the box. Like he kind of rebelled his own way. Like he was a different kind of bird. And then I had like a speech impediment growing up. So I was kind of, that's how I got like the special ed kids. So,
cool.
So I was all, you know, it took me a while for I could talk great. And so I was kind of like understood that. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been weird and I've always kind of hung out with fringy people.
Right.
So I've always liked the weirdos and like, you know, in the 80s when the punk stuff and we always doing funny stuff. Like, and I'm still friends with all my buddies from high school and we're kind of weirdos, you know, like, yeah. So I think we were always doing stuff different, but different together. I mean, it's not really rebellion, but I always liked hijinks, anything to fuck with things, but not like breaking things. You know, if that makes sense. Like I like fucking with things. And I remember like, I was like 8, like liking Saturday Night Live. Grew up with those comedians like the John Belushi's and the Bill Murrays, and like those people always struck me as funny. So I always liked those people, like funny people who made fun of things that were normal. Yeah, observational humor, which was great. Yeah, so I've always just resonated with those people, and like, you know, like growing up, like the preppies. I didn't want to be a preppy or like it was kind of, but my whole town was like that. So it's like I'm not unique in that way, but yeah, I was just kind of at that ilk where. Didn't want to be normal, didn't want to be in a frat. Like, fuck that. I remember going to college, like, no way I'm going to be in a fraternity because those people suck. So it's all, but did I come on that my own? No. I mean, this is my group. Didn't like those people. So some of it was conditioning. So it's not necessarily like me, but I fell on with the crowd that I was also like, that was the attitude. So some of it was cultural and some of it might've been me. And then were you always like this show me data or shut up kind of guy? Yeah. Where does that come from? Just from, okay, when I was a special ed teacher and we worked with a lot of autistic kids, the problem was there's a bunch of people with miracles that didn't work and it was really disruptive. And as you know, the saddest thing in life is to be a parent of, especially I work with nonverbal violent autistic kids, and it's just the home life, it's just awful. So the moms, the poor parents, like anything, right? So I saw the people taking advantage of them, you know, and this is like south of Santa Cruz, there's all this money. And they'll even mortgage their house for a cure, and all these snake oil salesmen. And I could go on for hours. And there's this ruse called facilitated communication, which is screwing people up. And then we did research, like, why is the school district doing this? Look at the science. So that's when I got like angry about bad data, because it's really hurting people. Right. Just these bullshit things. Parents are paying all this money. They weren't proven. And there's a new thing every 3 months because this is Santa Cruz. So they're open all that stuff, and just a bunch of bullshit. And then there were kind of cool research things. I always advocated when I was a teacher, like, let's use the shit that the data supports and maybe stick to something. And when we did, it's not like we got miracles or anything, but we could actually help. Right. And so I was like, let's be reasonable and do something that will work, but it'll be slower instead of these miracles. Like, yeah, in 1 week, if you just do blah, 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 spin around 5 times and then your kid's cured. Like, man, it's hard work. And so and then when I burned out on that and went to grad school, then I got really into science and social science. And so, yeah, I was I've always been a little bit of a data guy, but just watching how much damage was done by non-data driven solutions for such a serious thing, and the emotional exploitation of the parents. That was like hard to take.
And now have you tapped into the telepathy tapes and what's happened with the nonverbal autistics that they're now saying can connect and communicate in different capacities?
It's interesting. I have a background in that. I don't think we should go into that here. I have opinions, because because I believe in weird stuff doesn't mean I believe in all weird stuff.
Yeah.
I have a background there. I've reopened my mind to that, but that was one of the things I got eliminated from my district, and it was causing a lot of damage, the facilitated communication with the, so there's a mixed bag there. I'm not sure what I think about that. I'm reopening my mind to it, and I haven't had time to study it. But yeah, we probably shouldn't go into that.
But I think that's actually a great answer, which is,
I don't know.
I'm reopening my mind to it.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. And I think that is such a great way even to approach any of this stuff in astrology, which is like, okay, so many people are on one of two sides, which is either I hear about something, it works anecdotally for me, and now I'm all in, and I'm now going to, just like religion, shove it down your throat and be like, you now have to follow astrology and screw every other tool. That's no different than religion or the religion of food, right? You need to be carnivore or shut up. Right. You vegans are crap. And the vegans, you meat eating killers, like this is my religion. So I think everyone wants to find their identity in their religion. And it's really hard to shape shift religion once you've, fallen on the sword for it. And I think that's actually one of the greatest answers, which is just open-mindedness, curiosity, and I want both data and experience. Yeah. And I think Zodiac FM for you, this whole experience was, I want both. I want the data and I want the personal experience. And then from there, I want not just personal experience, but I want continuation of how does this work in harmony with so many other people that I know, like, and trust.
Yeah. So I think what you're getting at is you open your mind, but it doesn't mean everything's true. And then I'm being really careful now because I was so wrong for 51 years. So I don't want to be so wrong again. So now that I'm open, I'm going to be way careful, more careful about being certain like I was, because I was overly certain.
Right.
And I had to apologize to a bunch of my friends I made fun of. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But no, but like on this new thing, so like telepathy tape, I'll reopen it. I'm not just because I'm open doesn't mean it's all true.
Right. And
then now the whole nature of this whole thing, then a lot of it's like what's true for you kind of becomes you. So there's a kind of
that's right.
That's where it gets super complicated, because maybe you're creating it, and so who cares? There's true for everybody, and there's true for you. And
that's right.
And then I'm a rookie, man. So this what you're calling spiritual or whatever, we call the word, because the words are weird. I'm a rookie, and I'm treading lightly, if that makes sense. And I'm new to it. This whole new open, like believing in a different ontology and those kind of things. So I'm just still in research mode, figuring it out, trying not to be, because I'm a very impatient person, trying not to jump to conclusions. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like looking for people who've been on the path a lot longer than me, because I'm very new on the path. Right. So I'm never going to claim expertise on any of this. But my attitude has been dealing with the dissonance, and I'm treading lightly and trying to figure out what I can figure out.
But you did also build a psychology company that was around academic hypnosis,
that was
right?
Double-blind studied, but that was studied.
And so as you did that, you're looking back, hypnosis is partially this bridge between measurable and mysterious.
It's perception is mysterious, but it's not at all. I mean, it's very not. The stuff we were publishing, it's very clear how it works. It does work, and then they did double-blind studies. So the stuff I was putting out, I think the mechanism is amazing. It's basically like very, we think we have these conscious minds, that's everything, and 99% is below the surface.
That's right.
And it's just accessing that through different methods. Like you can use Ericksonian and get it through like narrative, and it's just passing the barrier so you can access that, not all of it. And there's so much more you have inside of you, and you can make change there. And how do you get there? And that's what hypnosis is in a nutshell. But there's a big body of literature, around that, where I'm looking for it in astrology. I ain't finding it. So it's a different kind of that, right? So
historically, if you think about the intertwining serpents, science, like my work is at this, triangle of ancient wisdom, modern neuroscience. I'm writing for psychology today, and also peak performance, and if we're looking at that historically, before we'll call it the religious takeover, science and spirituality in so many cases interfused. The only difference was, what is our technology to monitor, measure, check, change? But all science started with curiosity and hypothesis. And so much of modern science now is started with agenda. In many cases where there's an agenda of who's funding this.
Sometimes, yeah.
Because, maybe I have how much hypothesis gets shut down if it doesn't meet the agenda of how am I going to make money on this?
Sure. It might limit what's being studied. So I'm not down. There's always bias. Sure, in some things, but a lot of times there's not. So I'm not, the method itself is pure.
Yeah.
Now, is there funding for whatever? And do they hide some data? Sure. It depends on the subject. But there's all kinds of fields where there's not a lot of bias because there's not a lot of money, whether they're studying because they're studying. So there is freedom in a lot of cool science. I think the ones we know about that get exposed are where there's money involved.
Right.
But there are a lot of pure science. So I still love that whole process.
The scientific process is great. And I think what's happening right now is there's finally getting funding for these things that were considered maximal woo-woo now, which is super cool. It's starting to happen where we're starting to understand this integration of science and spirituality.
That correlates with psychedelics. So I think the fact that psychedelics are finding out all kinds of stuff that people already knew is opening up a hole. And then it's the gateway. It's
serving as a bridge.
Yeah. So now people are like, whoa. And then, I've always been into psychedelics, man. I've been heavily involved with maps and that whole thing my whole life. I've always been into that. I think that's opening up the space, and it's a process. So I'm not down on science it's baby bathwater. Right. That's why we said it. Is there some bathwater in the process? Is there some agenda? Sure, but the baby's so much bigger than the bathwater.
That's right.
And so I'm still pro the university studies, and there's always bathwater. I don't know anything bathwater free, and it's just is the juice worth the squeeze? And I think the baby in science and I think most professors and researchers, 95% have such integrity and they're kind of heroes and thank God for them. And the 5% who aren't, they're kind of, don't let the 5% fuck it up for the pure 95%, because that's about the ratio, I think.
Right. And my daughter got me really good on this one, where she was sitting here, we're driving, and she goes, Dad, what's more important to you, nature or modern science? I was like, nature, it's everything. I'm blah, blah, blah. And I'm going off on this tangent. She cuts me off and she goes, Dad, I'm a type 1 diabetic. If it wasn't for modern science and synthetic insulin, I'd be dead.
Wow.
And that was her mic drop moment in the car ride while I was driving her over to dance one day. And I was like, I said, part of my lesson here is to understand, from a esoteric level, if everything comes from one thing, so does the synthetic.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to wrap my head around. Yeah, your daughter's smart. It's funny. My daughter's 21, and then it's weird when they start getting smart, and you're like, because they know you so well, and they just bust you all the time.
Absolutely.
They just know. She knows all my bad logic, and she just.
Yeah. Well, that is the ultimate spiritual mission: is how do we handle the complexities of home versus sitting in the cave just telling people how to live.
I don't have any advice on home.
Yeah.
No way.
I want to dive into your nutraceutical company that, you built to mid 8 figures. Now, what did you think that taught you about health, belief, practitioner trust, and, people wanting to feel better?
Interesting. Because I was more about, I have to say it, the hypnosis thing was my passion, because that was my academic background, and that's my first risk.
Yeah.
One I'm most proud of. And then you can only grow hypnosis. I grew up to mid 7 figures as a living, but then we got really big as we published Roberta Tema's diet adherence program. And so all of a sudden I have 300,000 people want to lose weight on my list.
Wow.
And then I could communicate well. So if I got behind something, which it takes me a long time, people come to me to, I'd be an affiliate if I really trust it. And then it rain, right? This is way. Right. So everybody wanted me every supplement company came to me in the world, promote my supplement. And then I'm also a big, knowing your lane. I am a I can read a psych journal.
Right.
I can't read a med. Give me a break. I'm not capable of evaluating supplements. Give me a break. That takes so much training. I can't read a journal, and I hate people who act like they can when they can, or they AI can't do it. But my mom's a physiologist. She can. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I'd ask my mom and other smart people, can I recommend this stuff? And nobody was giving me anything, because I was like, I remember my mom said, you can promote that, but you're not when you come back to Kansas, you're not having dinner. So like that's, and I would rather be broke than not have my mom like me.
That's right.
Yeah. So I was like, well, how do I do it? And then I was like, what criteria? And she kind of coached me on it. And so I got more on that. And then I wanted like, what could I promote? And then Hyman, Amy, all those doctors, were promoting our hypnosis stuff because it was the best in the world. Because if somebody wrote a diet book and they wanted somebody to follow it,
right?
If they added Roberta Tema's hypnosis program to it, they'd actually follow it. So that's why we got so big with every famous person who recommended a diet, because if they upsold our product, they'd actually follow it. And so it was such a good marriage, right? So then I had the list from it. Not that I'm not the expert in weight loss. I mean, Roberta did the adherence. They were the experts. But then I had a lot of power because I had the people on the list who trusted me because I write well and I don't lie. So when I was asking the doctors what they wanted, like they got the criteria. So all I made was supplements that followed the FDA guidelines. Oh. The right ingredient. And then I saw the scam because, like, for example, the big scam was we were called Real Dose, right ingredient, real dose. So if somebody says, oh yeah, there's ashwagandha in it, 200 milligrams or whatever. So first you go, well, in the research to make a claim, what's the 200 milligrams, right? All these people, they would do like labels that didn't show the amount. Like, where's that? And it's just expensive. So they never put the real dose in, right ingredient, real dose. And then the ingredient scam was crazy. So when they're studying it, so is the ashwagandha grown in a parking lot in like Texas with no nutrients versus the ashwagandha grown in pure lush land where it actually has all the constituent parts,
right?
And then how are they extracting it? So ashwagandha is an ashwagandha at that level, so you can find out. So I would look at the research, and we go, okay, I want the same exact thing studied, which is the biggest scam in supplements. So I was like, no, and it costs a lot more. So I'd have the same extraction method, the same source. That was proven, but everybody, if you look at 95% of the supplement companies, like from where? And nobody asked that question because you can get by the FDA and the FTC by just saying I have 200 milligrams. We're like, that's bullshit, because it is bullshit. That's
right.
So that's all we did. And we just said we did that. And then the doctors trusted me. So they promoted and they put it in their offices. And then we said, and then it would do what the label said. Like, right. So all we did was sold stuff that did what it said it would do. No miracles. Right. So yeah, and then we had to charge more because it costs a lot more. And so I guess what I realized is people will pay for stuff that works. They're educatable.
Right.
Most doctors would rather sell something that works with less margin because it's more expensive than sell shit. So people who are people helpers like to sell stuff that works. So there are, I guess what I learned is a lot of people do have integrity.
Right.
And a lot of people want stuff that works. So that was really it. I mean, my mission really was like, I didn't want to screw people. And then once I like get into something, I'm like, let's do it right. Because that's kind of my whole thing. So I'm not deep into the psychology of health because it's never been my big thing. I'm so much more into psych than I am into health. So I'm no expert on health psychology, and it's never been my thing. I'm just like, my goal in health is just not to be obese, so I'm not a junkie. I'm not that guy. Right. So my goal is like to be able to play basketball and not be a fat ass and then feel good. But that's about as like, I'm not the avatar of like, I'm not a biohacker or anything. And there's great people are, it's just never been my bag, but you give me some psych tool and all the weird stuff, give me some like brain red light or what, anything weird, like any neurofeedback. I'm a junkie for brain stuff, but I've never been a junkie for that part.
But that's an interesting through line in all of these, right? Mm-hmm. Every one of these different projects that you've been a part of that have been at that time your full identity, they're all totally interrelated with that through line of like, love it or hate it, this is the authentic me within this approach. And I want to ensure that what I am pushing and promoting isn't full of crap.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And there's a lot of people, like, that's not unique. There's a lot of people out there putting out really good with it. So it's not a unique idea, but I'm part of that crowd.
Yeah. But that to me, that's such a, to do it and be successful from a marketing standpoint is unique.
Yeah.
I think it is, because if you look at some of the most successful practitioners, they tend to be inverse relationship with the most qualified practitioners.
That's kind of funny because that was my role. Like, these people I brought out of academia that I published, they made a lot of money and they don't know how to market, but they had the best stuff.
Right.
So yeah, usually you have somebody who markets and does something they're not that good.
Right.
And I already told them, like, I'm a carny. Like, let me sell your shit. Like, I'm already corrupt. I sold drugs in high school. Like, I'm already ruined. I'm a promoter. I got carny skills. You stay pure. Don't try to do both. You just make the best. You just create the best hypnosis or the formulators. Just make the best product. You're clean. Like, you keep that. I'll go do the dirty, weird marketing work because it's too late for me. Does that make sense? Like, I'm redeemable. So,
well, every 7 years, every single cell in your body is replaced.
Isn't that crazy?
And so I also look at it from, when you play golf, and I'm not a golfer, you have a horrible swing, you can be like, that's my mulligan.
Right.
So I think everything is redeemable and changeable, but I also, just like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right. There's a building upon all of these skill sets, experiences, and everything to create this new avatar that is you, which in this case, this new one is pretty different than the one I met when I moved here.
I'm the same guy.
But you're still the same guy. I would say the difference is this new one is just even more expansive with it in a really cool way.
I just got humbled, so I'm more careful. That's the difference. I'm more open-minded because I was so rigid before. I'm just a little less rigid.
But being less rigid is going to take the people who loved you, but maybe a little bit more from a distance, and allow them to be like, man, now I feel safer with this new version and I can open up to it. And then you're taking all of these skill sets that you have and then taking those to now boost something that the world needs more of.
Yeah, I do attack people less. So yeah, so I was kind of threatening because if you said stupid stuff, I would call you on it. And now I'm like, I was the stupid one. So that was humbling. And so I am safer. People say I'm a lot safer because I'm like, maybe I don't, because I was like so sure in the science, like that this was dumb.
Right.
That's gone, just not through growth, just by a great humbling. So I'm just more careful.
But parenthood does that too, an individual as well, right? You look at somebody like my humble moment, like your humble moment, was in the health and fitness space.
Okay.
So for me, what I did was, I'm like, I had this persona of I am celebrity personal trainer, clinical nutritionist. Right. I'm 5% year round.
You're the guy.
And I used to argue with my ex-mother-in-law about the hypothetical children that I was going to have and that they could never have Ben and Jerry's or Baskin Robbins. God, I'm not going to give them that chemical crap.
Yeah, exactly.
I had my first daughter with, my new wife. And I called my parents up and I'm like, I found the umbilical cord. I looked everywhere. There's no fucking manual. You winged this whole thing. I am so sorry.
Right.
And I did a public apology. I still remember this moment on Facebook, which was the biggest platform at the time. And I said, I am so sorry for all of you that I shamed around how to feed your kids.
Right.
Including my sister-in-law, who was like, hey man, finally. It's like, how dare you give your kid a hot dog?
I totally get it. Yeah, it's so funny.
And so I think that's just part of the thing is that like, totally I think for you, maybe it's not parenthood in this case. It's more,
that'd be the same thing. Right?
Yeah. But you're also realizing maybe I am a child of something that isn't just a void.
Right. And I haven't figured that out, but yeah, I'm definitely it's something different. And I don't know
what it is.
No.
But to me, the greatest experts in any field don't have all the answers.
Yeah, I don't have any answers except for I'm just learning.
And that's beautiful.
There's so many choices because now once you turn onto this, there's so many people with other cool stuff, right? And you have to kind of go, whoa, like I'm Jewish. So then Kabbalah seems interesting. And then that's a whole nother thing. And that looks cool. And then people are doing there's other things that are now like attractive to me, but I'm like, I got to slow down. Cause like, right. Cause it's like too much. And then I'm I'm going real slow. And then I'm also like, I'm in startup mode, which is a grind. Like, I don't know if this company's going to work. I'm in startup mode. It's hard. So I don't know if this is going to work. Who knows? But so I've had a lot of time to explore myself. So I got into this maybe too quickly because I couldn't not. And so I don't have a lot of time for self-exploration right now because
you're in startup mode.
I'm in that grind. And
but I think you get to be in self-exploration through the startup mode because what you are studying is so much about self-exploration.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
You don't have the time to sit in as much
I can't wait
calm
to go.
peace.
I can't wait to go to a retreat. I can't wait because I'm like,
Right.
no team. The whole broke mode. I don't know.
Right.
Like I'm bootstrapped, so I don't have time to go. I'd love to go on a 14-day retreat somewhere, or like even a camping trip for a week would be amazing. So I haven't had time to do those kind of things in a while. Yeah. So I'm kind of putting that on hold. But yeah, you're right. You grow through the process, but I'm saying I haven't had a lot of alone time with my thoughts because it's calls, and then the way to get this to work is to network with other people in this, and then maybe they'll like it, and maybe like you're just kind of, when you're small, you just scrap. Maybe they'll promote me, and so I haven't had a lot of introspection time,
right?
And I can't wait till I do because I have all this shit in my mind. I'm like, that's parking lot, man. So I can't wait to like have space to explore in like a real way, So, right. But I haven't done that yet.
And I do think that that's part of the entrepreneurial journey that's hard for non-entrepreneurs and leaders to really relate to is there are moments where it's all in.
Yeah, you can just know, like, yeah, you're just in. People should know that. Like, and they'll look at people like, you're like, Michael Lovitch, man, like, it's all hard. I mean, 3 years in any company is when you can start to relax if you've done well.
If you've done well.
It takes 3 years to get a good team.
Right.
It just takes time because you have to have the infrastructure around you. And so the first 2 or 3 years, man, unless you get lucky, I mean, some people get lucky, it's so hard. And then, it's always hard. So, I think when I watch these podcasts, it's like, they don't really emphasize that enough. These YouTube videos, just do this and like use AI and you don't need a team and just do that. And like, look at that. This is such bullshit. It's not like that because it's hard and it's rewarding when it's done, because like when you do kind of crack it, like on this one, I haven't, it is a big exhale and then you go. But yeah, I think anybody who's interested in entrepreneurship, just don't fall for that. Like if you're not prepared for it being really hard and a little bit depressing and lonely, don't do it.
It's all part of the journey. Yeah. And it's also why connection community is so important on the entrepreneurial journey.
That's the whole thing. All 3 companies, I ended up getting a network of entrepreneurs to help me out and I help them out. So the whole thing requires a support group of other people who know it, because people who aren't in it, they can't really help you with it. And your family can't either. You never rely on your family for it because they'll never, and it's just, that's not their role.
It's not their role. Yeah, you need to take that hat off when you walk in the door and put a different hat on.
It's asking too much from them. And then you got to find other weirdos who chose this weird thing and that get it. And then the ones that you resonate with, and you got to form allies. I mean, it's kind of like you almost form gangs. That's the only way this works. And like this, I don't come from this esoteric world.
Right.
And so I don't have, and I'm forming a gang. Like I haven't cracked even my network here because I'm being careful. But yeah, that's also the lonely part, because I haven't cracked this I'm new to it.
Yep.
And I'm going to be me. So I'm slowly forming, because it never works without the right people around you. I'm not talking about who work for you, but just the people you trust and the people around you and you're in the similar space that give you a break. Because when you're small, you got to get people give you a break. And when you're big, you should give small people a break. Like pay it forward. Like I remember Ryan Lee is the first guy to help me out. My hypnosis company. He's
interesting.
He's like my hero. I love Ryan. Yeah, because he was so big. And I remember I had the sports psychologist, Olympians trainer, hypnosis. I didn't know how to sell anything. I was just like, Field of Dreams.
Right.
Baby on the way. I was like, I risked everything. Nothing was going right. And I knew he'd be a great affiliate because I watched him and everything. And he had Sports Specific, the biggest membership for coaches and sports coaches ever. He was the first membership site. Yeah, he's a genius. And he was younger than me, but he'd already cracked it. He had like Sports Specific. If you were a coach of any sport, high school coach, whatever, they had training for that. Big list. And I was reading his thing. I'm like, God, they all need Jack's program for their, and I'm persistent. And I realized he was Jewish like me. So I just kept emailing them, calling. And then finally his assistant said, Ryan said, like, what will it take for you to leave us alone? I said, just give me a call, man. Scheduled a call. I didn't know who I was. And then I got him on the phone and we resonated and we started laughing. And we got along on the phone. And he's like, so what's the deal? And I explained it. He's like, well, he goes, that's really cool. Send it to me, whatever. I sent him the program and he's like, this is great. We should do something. And so he's like, great. So we'll do a teleseminar, blah, blah. I'm like, what's a teleseminar, man? So I didn't know anything. He's like, let me see your landing page. I was like, what's a landing page? So I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
It's a web page and like with a little product picture and like a little paragraph. So he's like, how about this, man? Like, you don't know what you're doing. Just make me a page that's a special offer for Ryan Lee and give it 25% off. And you have an affiliate software. I was like, I do have that. I know what that is.
Yeah.
And I'll put it all together. Make me a link that does that. And I'll put it together and I'll make that page for you. And let's go. He did it. He interviewed Jack because I never got interviewed. The therapist would.
Yeah.
I woke up the next morning and there's like $50K in that account. And I had more than I'd made. And I gave him his commission. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, dude, you need help. And he's like, anyway, so he introduced me to the world. He's like, I got a bunch of guys to promote it. Of course, give me a rake, of course. Without him, I'd be, so yeah, but he paid it forward. And he didn't charge me for coaching. And then because I said, what do you want, man, besides the normal commission? He said, just pay it forward, man. So it's back to the ecosystem. You want to join a tribe and then, your job, I'm small now. And so maybe someone will give me a break. Hi, I need a break. But then, when you're big in the supplement world, like give people a break if they're honest and they have integrity. And you want to have a tribe like that helps each other out and you grow together. And what I mean, you got to be selective and you only want to help people that are in it for their customer. And you got to make sure that people who aren't in your tribe, because I want to associate with people who care about the people they serve in whatever way. And I don't want to align with people who don't. And if you can get those kind of people, and it takes a while, but then you can kind of build real fast. And then it's great. And then it's fun because you're winning together. That's what, you win together. Somebody's having a bad day. You're like, do you need me to send an email? Right, because I got a list and like, do you need help? Do you need an introduction? Like, because you're having a bad month for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, you need some help here, and you help them, and then they help you, and then a new person comes in like, this guy has integrity, has a cool shit. Let's help that guy out or girl.
I love that.
But that's kind of the way I've always built, and people should know that. Like, you can't do it yourself. I mean, unless I'm not a genius. Unless you're some genius, then you can. And I'm not one.
When you try to do it all yourself, which I've been guilty of. Typically what happens is you live the same year over and over again, like Groundhog Day.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
And you're trying to build it and you're basically having that same year over and over, and that year's going like this.
Yeah, well, because I don't know a lot of people in this, so it's very lonely. And then I don't even know my avatar because I'm not of it. Because of the other products, I had a sense of it. And it's lonely. And then people that I'm meeting, people like some people come into my life and they are helping. They're giving me the words. And because I'm like, I don't know the words for this. I'm not the market. So
I think it's the openness and being a go-giver in these types of situations with the right authentic people is what gets you where you want to be.
So that's kind of, it's a process, but and hopefully in this one, I find my people, kind of still looking for them.
So I downloaded Zodiac FM.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm a hypersensitive individual as far as like what can be considered clairsentience and claircognizance, which is like the feeling awareness and also the knowing awareness, which sometimes I'm like, can I see the visual or hear somebody in my ear say, here's how it is?
Oh, wow, we're so opposite. Yeah.
Which is coming. But I think that's fascinating where it's back to that same avatar. We're all set with this. We all have the capacity for all of it and we all have all of it, but it's like to what level? And to me, all those other clairs are nicely unfolding right now, which means I'm basically just not blocking them as much anymore.
Right.
I'm getting the heck out of my own way.
Yeah, you've been on the path a lot longer. You've been doing a lot more work, so it makes more sense. And I haven't, so it's obvious.
Just screwed up more than you in different capacities.
We all are.
So we've got the core, the love, the vitality, and the abundance. And what I've seen right now is I started, listening to different frequencies that are all custom designed for me based on each one of these categories. So can you explain a little bit about, first off, what core, love, vitality, and abundance mean?
Yeah, the naming, I named them 2 years ago, like loosely translated from the Sanskrit. That's always, but so the core, so these are orientation frequencies and they're yours. So based on your birth chart location, the same stuff you get your human design or your astrology or your chakra, actually. So there's 4 domains of life. And this is like, if you understand Vedic, it's a subtle body, not your soul. Yeah. It's the scaffolding, the nadas, blah, blah, blah. And that's how astrology can read you, is because they're reading that and those relate to the planets and that's how you're communicating. But there's the personal part of you. There's 4 domains. One is like identity. And what we mean by that is who's me, who's not me, what's right for me, kind of what's my purpose, what's not, the sense of that. And that's why people, they kind of read your identity a little bit. That's an orientation. That this frequency actually resonates with that in you. That's your frequency that helps you when you tune into it. Know that. We all have awareness of it, but not much. That's why people do silent practices or Qigong. Those all work. And that's what, and it's because basically when people do those, and they do more, they actually heal you, which ours don't. But they orient you, and that's why people love to do those. Or they go, like I said, I can't wait to go on a 2-week nature trip without noise. And you go on a trip for 2 weeks, and you start to notice, like, make some big decisions. It's because they're always there, but it's hard to access them.
That's right.
So all we do is provide more access by clarifying a bit and amplifying it, so you can actually get access to yourself in a noisy world. That's kind of the whole idea. So the identity is how you know who you are, who you're not. It's a domain of life. Love, I maybe should rename that. It's really your orientation of connection. So it's not just romantic.
Right.
It's who do I connect with? How do I connect with people in different ways? Like, what's my natural way to connect? Who shouldn't I connect with? And then,
which I think is love. So I don't think it needs to be renamed.
So it could be a romantic partner, it could be a business partner, or just somebody on the street. How do I connect? How do I treat people?
Yeah.
That's a domain.
Right.
And of course, does it overlap a little bit with identity? Sure, it's all a blend.
Mm-hmm.
And like the research is crazy because it is. But that's kind of the overall orientation idea of, like, how do I connect? How do I don't? And, and a lot of people are intuitive with people and have great relationships. They're kind of more tuned in than we are, whether it's just through luck or they do practices. This helps you do that just by listening to frequencies in great music. So just go about your day and it happens. Vitality, I might need to rename this. That's not like, I'm vital. It's taps into, like, more the orientation of what gives you energy, what doesn't, like your life force. So it'll go like, what will drain me? What won't drain me? Who will drain me? Who won't drain me? Like pick, like, some people, we get told to do a fitness thing. Well, maybe that's not for me. Or maybe these activities I'm doing are actually not energetic. So now you can tune in and you'll know more what's going to give you energy. And they tune into your life force. It's always there. Yeah. So when you kind of notice it more, you can let it guide you, and that's your vibrancy. But it doesn't. So again, it's just not healing. So it doesn't, like, I'm feeling tired. Vitality, boom, no.
Right. It's a cumulative.
But also tell you, like, you can start to pay attention to your energy and then maybe intuitively know what to do to get untired. Like, take a fucking nap. Or if it's for you, meditate. Or for me, basketball.
That's right.
Whatever it may be, it's you. The whole idea is, when people are like, what does it do? I'm like, it's so unique to the person. So it's so hard to go, well, then this will happen, because we all need different things.
That's right.
Right. And then the last one, we call it abundance. That's the energy of exchange and connection. So that's how we exchange them. How do you exchange? And then what opportunities are good for you? What are not? And then, so a lot of people use astrology for this, because, like, as it's all one thing, the zodiac, as the zodiac out there is communicating with you, because that's what's happening. You, like, take certain opportunities arise, or and that's what people love to get readings for, besides knowing about themselves, is timing and opportunity. So this gives you a way, like, that's what I noticed. It's giving me a total sense. It's getting crazy. You're tuned into that and how you do it, and maybe what opportunities not to take. So, like, I wish I was listening to this. I've taken a lot of bad opportunities because I wasn't tuned in. Yeah. I've used my logical mind, which you still should use, by the way. Yeah. So, and they all kind of intertwine, but that's the main energy. So those are the 4 domains. And then they each have a frequency location. And that tone, all we're doing is, it's simple biofeedback. We insert the tone sound like shit, by the way, like zzz. Yeah. And then we tried to make the tone sound better. They didn't work anymore. So we could only modify them to a certain point because it's resonant. So if you have a tuning fork and it's E, you have a guitar string and it's E, you play the E, it'll, like, vibrate the E and start to tune it, and it amplifies, right? So if I'm playing an E and there's no E string, nothing's going to happen. Right. Right. So that's all we're doing, is you're hearing that. So we have the frequency, but nobody's going to sit there and listen to that. So we had to create music I hired composers, and the music is the peanut butter. So the music itself does what the music would do as a thing, but they're not. And then I have to make 700, because every frequency is a range of 250 or 950, 700. Right. So each song we have to make 700 versions, and you can't just, you go to these apps and, like, here's the tone and overlay the music. It's like, it's not the way shit works. Right. So if I have a 351 and then I have a song, you have to find a harmonic in the song to match. So you have to redo the song to find a harmonic. So it's a harmonic song to highlight the frequency and make it tolerable. So you see, you can listen. They don't sound bad, right? Like, no, it's good music. They sound great. And the frequency written by a composer, not written by AI. Yeah. But the frequency itself, each one is mastered. AI can't do it. So that was kind of, I was like, whoa, I'm spending a lot on this, but it's each one. So that's why they sound good. And then the song bends around the frequency to make it sound okay. And the next hertz have to do it over again, because then you hear dissonance if you don't. That's right. So But the music doesn't do anything in and of itself except for highlight the frequency. And then if the frequency is right and it is a match, if you put in your right birth information, it's going to be. And then over time, it's slightly like a guitar tune. It's just that simple. Starts to tune it a little bit, gets a little static, whatever, makes some clarity, and then it makes it, I say, amplify louder for you, so you can notice yourself even when you're busy and all that without. And I don't keep all your practices, so it makes them so much better. So if you have a practice, it magnifies, but you can do it without a practice. Like people, you can listen on your commute. I walk my dog to it and cook to it. Like I like to meditate, but I don't like music, so I don't even meditate to my own stuff because I don't like music. Mm-hmm. So I kind of just, and I don't like to sleep with music, so I don't use. And a lot of people love it for sleep, but I can't listen to it. But I do it when in motion, and I get the same results. So it's just, So it's the soundtrack of your life, not really a playlist of somebody else's music that's actually intentionally not tuned into the right frequencies, which is a whole nother story. Yes, music tune your frequency, and then we'll start to, as soon as I figure out a less expensive way to make 700 tracks or we get more money, then I'll be adding songs, and I could add R&B. I can't wait to have funk songs.
Nice.
The biggest request we have is they want workout music. Because people want to walk to it, and then we have two kind of upbeat songs, so you can kind of work out to it. But are these really good workout songs? No. So I want to make some workout songs, or license some, but then each one would take a month to tune.
That's right.
As soon as I'm working with an audio engineer from Berkeley. He thinks he has not AI, but there might be an algorithm to shorten it. As soon as that's down, I want to have thousands of songs. So then you could say, this is my workout list. This is my. But it's not there yet. We have 7 songs.
I love it. I want to hit you with some rapid fire questions. Yeah. Just the first answer that comes to you.
Okay.
And I think this will be fun.
I see your list there.
Yeah. So most skeptical thought you had during your first astrology reading?
Did my friend give her my therapist notes?
Oh, nice. One belief you had 5 years ago that you no longer hold?
I mean, kind of what we talked about, that it's meaningless, that we're not all connected, that that the world is just a big cosmic joke.
I love it.
Basically.
Astrology, map, mirror, or mechanism?
Oh, wow. I say map or mirror. Yeah, that's hard. That's tough.
Yeah. Frequency, metaphor, or measurable reality?
I think it's a measurable reality.
I love that. What's more dangerous, blind belief or blind skepticism?
Blind belief is still more dangerous.
Yeah.
I agree. I'd rather be a blind skeptic.
I agree. Yeah. My first words to my daughter or my son when they ask me to do something is no.
Right.
I always say no, and then I process it after that because they want immediate answers. So I'll be like, no. Then I'll process it. I'll think about it, and then it can turn to a yes. But you can't turn a yes to a no.
Right. You got to say that.
Right. Careful, jump off the building. Oh, shoot.
Right. A lot of bad ideas out there.
Best entrepreneurial trait?
Persistence, ability to take pain. I mean, like not quitting, because everybody wants to just, whatever that word is, not quitting.
Perseverance. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Worst entrepreneurial trait?
I'm always on the effort side. It's basically thinking it's going to be easy, or not listening. Like whenever I make a mistake, because I don't listen to my friends.
Yeah.
So because you start, being certain and not taking feedback from smart people because you think you're right.
The brownie's going to mess you up. Not me.
No, exactly. Yeah. Almost every mistake I made, somebody told me not to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother likes to say, you're an experiential learner, Kyle.
Right, exactly. Sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
What do most people misunderstand about intuition?
That's a really good question. I'm not an expert on intuition.
Yeah. From your experience so far, now you're new to it, but also not new to
That's an interesting question, man, because this is tuning mine like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's better. I wish I would have had it before, and I've never thought about it that much. So what's most interesting is that I think that if you get some way of knowing, track your intuition. Cause I've been kind of tracking it, it's more accurate.
Yeah.
So trusting your intuition, I see, is super valuable.
Yeah.
But if you trust your intuition and it's bad, that's really not. So I don't know the answer on that, but I'm trusting mine more, but I've been I'm a weirdo. I've been tracking.
Yeah.
And so I've been like so the kind of life's so much better if you mainly trust, but be a little skeptical of your intuition.
Trust but verify was the.
I don't have a great answer, but that's kind of what my thoughts are on it.
I love it. What's one sign someone's timing is clean?
Man, on opportunity. Man, that's just results, because you meet people and like, I thought they're just lucky, but they're tuned in that everything that comes to them and like works. Like I was talking to my friend Matt Stang, and that motherfucker's too, because every opportunity he does, he'll tell me about it, and then it works. And I've rarely seen, I've only seen one thing he's done not work, and so you have to see.
So what's one sound you never get tired of?
Sound. Me, I think the sound of like rain and thunderstorms. That's not a sound, but that's my jam.
I love it.
A storm. Love a storm.
So I want to flip the mic for a second.
Okay.
And you spent time talking about these losing your old beliefs and listening to this dissonance, and I want to give you the opportunity to ask any kind of question on anything of this, from somebody who's maybe been down the path a little bit longer.
Yeah, like when do you get comfortable? Like, are you always adding new things, or is it better to settle it on one thing and go deep one at a time? Like when you're exploring, because you've explored a lot of different traditions, like you're very eclectic now. Did you do that all at once?
Great question.
Do you go like deep into one and then deep into another and then assimilate?
So
yeah, that's the biggest question.
That's a huge question. Okay. Here's my take on it. And this goes back to me as a kid, right? I started the multicultural club for my hometown and for my high school with my buddy who randomly now lives in the same city as me, even though we came from the small town northwest suburbs of Chicago. His family was Baha'i, which is like, we find the best of every religion. And so it made sense he would start a multicultural club.
Sure.
I'm big on the idea of following your enthusiasm. With, what could be labeled as ADHD, there's this ability to both space out and be hyper-focused. So I dive down a rabbit hole and just am curious and will follow my enthusiasm, and I'll look at where can I integrate it. And I learn a lot by teaching. Okay. So I'll learn, I'll study, I'll teach, I'll try stuff out on my clients. I'll play with things for a bit, but I learned from my grandma to be a lifelong learner. And I also, on top of that, learned from my dad, don't just look through one lens. He was the eye doctor.
Oh, wow.
And as the town eye doctor, he would say, hey, watch this. If I go speak at an optical conference, everyone's going to be judging, skeptical, having their really firm point of view on things. But if I go speak at a chiropractic convention, it's a completely different experience.
Right, it's very different.
And they're going to look at me in a totally different lens. But also the chiropractor is going to say, everything is about the spine. The eye doctor, everything is about the optic nerve and the retina. And like everyone's looking through different things. So I've been very lucky as somebody who grew up with all of these different things, with the mom who was the art teacher and the dad who's the eye doctor, and the two aunts. One was into astrology, numerology. Oh, wow. She was a Hawaiian shaman. No way. She was a Hawaiian shaman, with the Jewish background, and the other one who was a channel. So I had this beautiful mix. And for me, what I've done is I've looked at them as building blocks where I'll follow my enthusiasm as far as it takes me, and I'll incorporate pieces in, and I won't take anything as a religion. I'll say what pieces fit into this puzzle for me and what scrap I need to throw away because I don't want any gurus. And then I'll take another piece and I'll pull it in. And that's why I've studied so many of these different modalities, and I like to find the common threads. Just like with you, there's so many common threads where we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. But it sounds like you grew up with the because me, I was like, didn't believe in any of this stuff. And then, I'm eclectic. And so I guess when I learned like in the psychology field, I would learn like, let's go really deep into cognitive. So I actually know what the hell it is and I wouldn't mess around with the others until I got that. Right. And then I would learn that. Right.
That's exactly.
And so that's what I was asking, like this one, because because now I'm talking, because I'm doing biz dev. I'm meeting all these other people. And then, but this one guy, Nathan, is like, he has this Filipino martial art where they're singing with blindfolds. I'm like, oh, like that, right?
Yes.
So that's enthusiasm. But I'm like, then I'm like, I'm still figuring out the Vedic stuff. Like, like I got the thing. It doesn't mean that, like, I don't even understand the algorithm. The thing I'm giving, I don't know the equation. I know it, but I don't understand it. So do I stay with this for a while and really get it? Or can I go fuck around can I go around and mess around with that? Like, when do you jump and try something out? Like, when do you know that you're not complete here? I mean, you're never complete in anything, but when do you know that it's like martial art, like about boxing, like, you have to work on your footwork. It's like,
it's
like
when
that?
It's gotten to the point that you've embodied it.
Yeah.
And once you've embodied it, it's not that you throw it out and stop doing it, because the flowers always need to be tended to.
Right.
The garden always still needs to, get rid of the weeds. But it's like, okay, I've got this at a point now where I've embodied as much of it as I'm going to for now. And this seems exciting. And a lot of that's intuition. A lot of that's listening. Like, am I getting these synchronicities where something is telling me, hey, this is really weird, right? I heard of ayahuasca in 2000 something. I then came across opportunities around 2018, but I only used it for the first time in November when it was screaming at me, we are now ready. Like, we are ready. It's your time.
Yes. So I've done that journey because I've been doing heavy psychedelics since 14. So I've tried those all the way, and I love them, but not with this belief. Yeah. Because I could explain, through the filter. But I've tried those. So they're a depth. But I'm just like, when do I move on? Not move on, but mess around without confusing myself. Yeah.
I think it's a trusting. If something is like, hey, there's an opportunity here to add a new building block in a cool way, and maybe that will open a door with astrology, for example, that nobody's seen before. If that's knocking on your door, listen.
I'm looking for a body practice, so I could do like not core power, but like yoga, like yoga that fits the model, and I thought about really getting into that, but that's still being the same ontological framework, right?
Right.
Or I could do Qigong, which is Chinese and not Indian, but there's similarities. Like, Qigong people love this, but then they describe it different. That's right. So would I kind of want to do Qigong, but then, or would I understand the lineage that I'm publishing from better if I did yoga? You following me?
Fully. I would say in this case, you want to learn a language enough to know if someone's talking crap about you, if you're studying languages. So I would say, look at the building blocks first and how they're interrelated. I think that's always a good step. And at its core essence, it's body, mind, spirit. You want your vessel to be as clean as possible so you can hear what's coming to you and through you. Like, if this thing is super distorted, what you're learning and discovering is not going to be as on point.
Yoga, which is totally congruent with what I'm learning. Qigong, which is a lot congruent, but they do have a different origin story.
They do. And right now you're teaching a lot of people these languages and serving as a bridge. So to me, the yoga would make a little bit more sense.
I think it'd be cool. And if it's also, it'd be more disciplined because it's slower.
And you're a basketball player and your goal is to be the point guard. You want to be able to see the periphery. So the more you can see the periphery and see how all these different pieces interrelate, I think the better.
And now I got to find a legitimate yoga student. Not that's core power is bad, but I want to find one that's like
aligned for you.
Aligned for based on
the lineage of what yoga was, which is not to just become bendy.
Nothing wrong with it for fitness. I don't want to bash anything, but I just gotta find that. So that's really good advice.
That's right. You want to find the right thing that aligns based off of the foundation.
Yeah, Kundalini. Right? I think I need to find a good Kundalini.
And the indigenous way for me was always learning the grandmother way, which is a foundational way before it became the grandfather way.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Kundalini. It's got to find a good, because anybody who's into Kundalini that I give this to, this comes from, I mean, I'm jealous because I barely feel this. Like, again, like we were talking earlier, like I get results of it because I have to contemplate, but I'm not energetically sensitive. So I don't it makes me jealous. I'll give it to people who are like you said, I felt it. I'm like, man, you asshole. I don't. So people who do Kundalini, they must have to turn it off because they're so, because just zoop, and then I'm like, man, that's never me. So I think it might be Kundalini because there's a lot of practices, but the people who do that for reals, when I give it to them, I get calls and man, it's almost too much at the beginning, and then they have to kind of because they're already tuned that way.
That's right. Makes perfect sense.
And so maybe that's it.
Well, I love it. I appreciate taking the time to walk you through this journey today, and grateful for you taking the time. For those, we'll have all the links attached to all the show notes and attached to all the places we're promoting it. But what's the best way to find out about the product? I
mean, we're easy to find. It's zodiac.fm.
I love it.
We were thought that was cute.
And we'll have some great links in the site where you guys can all check it out, because it's definitely something I'm enjoying right now and can stand behind.
Link where you can offer discounts, so you can mess with that. So yeah,
we'll hook you up.
Yeah, we'll hook you up. Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is my first real studio podcast ever.
Amazing.
So this is really fun.
Well, my
glad I made it over.
My gratitude to create that space for you. Yeah, so thank you so much.
I'm glad I made the drive. So I appreciate you having me on. This is fun.
Awesome. More to come.
All right. Cheers.
All right, my friend. If this episode sparked something in you, don't just wander off into the abyss of the internet. Hit subscribe so you can actually get the good stuff when it drops. And if you're feeling generous or mildly enlightened, leave some love in a review. It takes just 30 seconds, and somehow it feeds the algorithm gods so they notice and more people who really need it. Now, if you want to step deeper into my world, rapidharmony.com is where the real magic lives. Coaching, community, rituals, and a few surprises that are way better than just scrolling around another motivational reel and not doing anything about it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. And remember, your inner harmony isn't hiding. It's just waiting for you to pay attention. I'll see you on the next episode. Now go subscribe before you forget.